Welcome to the second episode of my budget TT bike build series here on the TriRealHard YouTube channel. If you haven't already seen episode 1 of this build series, then go ahead and check it out for more info on the frame for this build, which is the full carbon, new old stock, Dolan Area or Aria, however you wish to pronounce it. In this episode I'm going to be introducing the finishing kit. So yeah, I'm going to be starting with the finishing kit. Let's see how that goes. This includes things like the cockpit, the saddle, the pedals and the bar tape. The reason I'm splitting it down into such things as the finishing kit, drivetrain, etc. is to cover all the components for the build in one go. Would mean the video would be like an hour long. Nobody's going to watch that. So let's see how it goes. Roadcyclinguk.com did an article on finishing kits in which they said, and I quote, "It's called a finishing kit because it's the finishing touches on your bike, but in reality, if you don't think about your saddle and your handlebar choice, then you're going to be uncomfortable." And I couldn't agree more. That article went on to say that it's a finishing kit, but it should be much more than an afterthought. I'll link to their article in the description so you can read it all if you so wish. With this being a TT bike that I may one day do a half Ironman bike leg, 56 miles, or a full Ironman bike leg, 118 miles, or at the least a 25-mile time triathlon, I feel that comfort really has to be prioritised at this stage. I've seen a lot of budget TT bike builds with full alloy cockpits and quite old-fashioned looking tubing designs. I thought that maybe if I could just somehow find an affordable carbon cockpit at this stage, then the combination of it being carbon with the enhanced adjustability give the modern look to the bike that I'm going for, but also it give improved fit and reduced vibration through the forearm and hand, which would then lead to better comfort. Also, as pointed out on the Planet X website, who are a UK based bike manufacturer, finishing kit is often economised on in many big name budget and mid-price bike builds. Now they do this so that they ensure they make a profit, it cuts down costs at that first initial stage. But if, like me, you're building your bike up from scratch, buying every component, then I think we've got the perfect opportunity and just an amazing chance to buy quality products from the start, so that we're not putting space fillers onto the bike that we then need to upgrade further down the line, which is basically saving us money in the long run. So the first finishing kit component was actually included with the frame, and that's this Alpina 36x45 headset for straight 1 1/8 steerers. Now there's not really much to be said about this other than it weighs 52 grams without a top cap or expander. I think if you were to have originally bought this from Dolan, they probably would have been included, but in my new old stock version they didn't come with the frame set. But I did get that Alpina headset, which has saved me 20 quid, which is sweet, and it's likely to be absolutely fine, as it's the exact headset that Dolan used with their precursor fixie frames, which are just super popular. So I can't see anything going wrong with that. So for the top cap and expander, I'll be using this FSA one that's got a 23mm diameter, I believe, 23.6mm diameter, and just a normal alloy top cap, and that seems to fit really nicely into the top of the steerer there. I picked this up for a tenner, for £10 on eBay with free postage, and the top cap was part of the set. It's also a decent length. If you look at it, it's long enough to cover the stem length, and the reason why that's important is it reduces problems that can come from over tightening the stem or just knocking the bike, knocking the handlebars, which can lead to sort of cracks in the steerer tube. So having that long enough to cover the height of the stem will actually hopefully prevent those problems going forward. So moving swiftly onto the handlebars, I'd like to show you this lovely chunk of carbon that I managed to source as the base bar for my budget TT bike. So this is going to become my tri-bike, TT bike Cockpit. This is by far the best bargain that I've managed to find for this build, because these Deader, you see that? Deader Kronos bars are still available online for between £320 and £420, and I actually paid £70 for them, including postage, from Facebook Marketplace. They did come with the original TT extensions, the carbon extensions, but they've been cut down by the previous owner, and that's why I was able to negotiate such a good price, because I was concerned that sourcing replacement TT extensions, if they didn't fit me, would be problematic. So I managed to talk him down from somewhere around 120 to the £70 mark. Although the cut down extensions that it came with were too short for someone of my height and build, they were okay as a kind of occasional set of clip-on aero bar, but I was on my main road bike, and I've used those in training and actually for the one triathlon event that I took part in. So they have proven useful, but I was able to pick up a set of these Deader Elementi Fast Black 2 extensions on Facebook Marketplace again for £30, and these are the correct 31.7mm diameter needed to fit in this Kronos base bar. The weight of the total Cockpit is around 741 grams, which to me seems like a brick. It seems pretty heavy, but I'm told that weight is less of a concern on a triathlon or tri-bike. So this brings it £30 plus £70 brings the total amount spent to £100 on the two items, but they have an RRP of £500. So I'm off to a flying start there, but having spent another £100, that takes me to £350 of my £840 budget spent already, which my calculator here on the computer is telling me is almost 42% of the total budget that I've already spent. Fortunately, the seller of this Cockpit did throw in this Deader Zero stem, and it's quite a cool shape actually. It's got a wider top to it than the bottom, so it's slightly aero in a fashion, and it doesn't actually weigh that much. It's only 136 grams. And this probably saved me another £20, because they originally retail for around £40, but I would probably ended up picking up something second hand for £20. But I didn't need to do that, so I definitely appreciate that being free. It's in really good condition. Next, well, it's great that part of the finishing kit that you'd normally have to buy, which is the seat post, is included, and it's carbon and it weighs a respectable 223 grams. It's also aero profiled, and it's got a nice carbon weave effect to it. It's a nice bit of kit, but I do need a saddle to sit on, so that's what we'll go on to next. Having tried many saddles and actually sold quite a few saddles on, I now use the Prologo Nageo RS STN saddle on both my winter and summer bikes. So I do like the Prologo saddles, and I've tried a couple of them, but this is the one that I've settled on because it's cheaply available second hand. I don't think I've paid more than a tenner for either of them, and they're normally takeoffs, so somebody gets a new Cannondale and they take it off and replace it with whatever they prefer, and then they sell it on. But I actually get on quite well with these Pro Logo saddles that come stock with some of the higher end bikes. So I wanted to stick with the same Pro Logo brand, and having researched good Pro Logo time trial saddles, the Pro Logo Nargo Evo TTR time trial saddle seemed to get really good reviews. The problem was that even used Evo TTRs were fetching over £50, and with the wheels and the whole group set still left to buy, I wanted to keep the cost of the saddle as low as possible. So when this Pro Logo TT-02 saddle popped up on Facebook Marketplace for £30 plus postage, I decided to go for it. So I'm really hoping that this, which looks pretty much identical to the Evo TTR, I'm hoping that it's going to be good and suit me and be comfy enough for long rides, because you don't really get out of the saddle on a TT bike at all really. I think you might occasionally do it just to adjust your position, but generally you're just in the saddle just pedaling away for the whole ride. And FYI, the weight of this Pro Logo Zero TT saddle is 254 grams. So not bad, it's not like 300 grams or anything, and it looks like quite a nice saddle really. The last contact points on the bike to consider for the finishing kit are the pedals. And with budget in mind, I already had some Look Keo compatible cleats that had come free with a pair of road cycling shoes that I'd bought, and they remained unused because I only own Shimano SPD style pedals. So I ended up buying some Look Keo classic pedals in a black and white colour, which will match the frame nicely, from a lovely lady here locally. And she basically bought them on holiday because she'd forgotten to take her pedals with her, but she had taken her shoes with her. So she ended up buying these, using them once on holiday, and then never using them again because she had better pedals on her bike at home. So they'd literally been used once, and I bought them for 20 quid. They weigh 278 grams, which is roughly the same amount of money, to 20 quid, that you might pay for a second-hand pair of Shimano 105 pedals, but a fair bit lighter and probably better condition than you'd find Shimano in. So yeah, I'm happy that I managed to get something brand new really for the build. So there you have it, that's pretty much the complete finishing kit for my TT bike build, and with a £5 roll of bar tape from Decathlon. This stuff's actually a fiver and it's so light. It's lighter than a lot of the tape you get, and it's not particularly hard to fit or anything, so it's readily available. You can just nip to Decathlon to get more. So I rate it. And also a set of carbon effect headset spacers. They're £4 I think I paid from Wiggle, so they're the brand X, they're sort of in-house brand. So that brings the total cost of everything for the finishing kit to £162, which added to the £250 for the frame set that I've already spent, brings the total so far spent to £412 of my £840 budget, which means that going forward I'm going to have to be really careful about making sure that I can buy a whole group set and a wheel set, including things like a chain and tyres, for the remaining £428 if my maths is right. So yeah, please tune into the next episode of TriRealHard to see what components I end up going for or manage to cobble together with the remaining money. That might be more accurate at this stage, but if you're enjoying this content and you want to see more bike builds going forward, then please do subscribe and hit the bell icon to ensure you don't miss episode 3, 4 and 5 of this budget full carbon TT bike build. Thanks for watching.